It's not clear to us whether Bannon had the populist ideas first and sold Trump on them, or whether Trump had cradled these ideas for a long time and finally found an advisor in Bannon who agreed with his predispositions. What is clear is that from the start of their partnership, such as it was, they were largely of like mind on how to sell the American people and conservatives on a new economic populist paradigm. At the very least, Bannon shared Trump's world vision from the start, and they both are disruptors. We found Bannon to be more pessimistic and Trump more optimistic about the future. Bannon talked a lot about the wrecking ball strategy. Trump talked about building things up. You've got to understand that the GOP was out of touch with voters almost completely for the past couple of decades, Bannon explained to us during the campaign. They haven't been addressing a tide of middle-class concerns about trade, immigration, the culture, and expensive and unwinnable wars. Most voters had just completely tuned out both parties. Trump is a non-politician who was promising a paradigm shift. That's the understatement of this still young century. Trump didn't run as a Milton Friedman, Reagan free marketeer. He's not a libertarian, far from it. He also didn't run as a kinder and gentler Bush neocon. Trump upended 2 decades of stale Republican dogma with a freshly minted populist agenda. What was shocking was how many millions of independent and Republican voters, and even some populist Democrats, found Trump's approach to economic policy refreshingly attractive, or at least worth a try. The man and the message. Before we describe the principles of Trumponomics, it is critical to point out that this populist agenda, he used to like calling it popularism, couldn't have been pulled off by just anyone. The message required the right messenger. What made Trumponomics sell was a brilliant salesman. We have already made note that Trump is arguably the greatest marketer of modern times. This is the key to his success in business, but it is even more so the key to his success in politics. What made Trump such a natural and believable messenger was that he never hid his wealth and success. Instead, he wore it as a badge of honor and even flaunted it. He donned beautifully tailored suits. He drove around in limos, hung out in swanky resorts, flew around in his own plane, and built tall buildings. He boasted about his success, many times excessively, with a bravado that was somehow endearing to his voters. We are convinced that he pulled off the populist message so well because he was the unpolitician. Hillary was smooth, brilliant, prepped, and almost infallible in her presentations. Obama, too. Trump talked like a real person at a sports bar or a neighborhood party. We won't say like men in a locker room. Not someone programmed with a teleprompter. Hillary was Madison Avenue. Trump was Brooklyn. It was Trump's authentic street fighter persona, which admittedly many Americans found highly off-putting, that was pivotal in selling the populist message. When people ask us what Donald Trump is really like in person, the one word that we found best described him was authentic. What you see is what you get. One other thing we firmly believe about Donald Trump, a belief that his voters clearly share, is that he genuinely cares about the middle class and helping them better their lives. Many criticisms of Trump are legitimate, but we never believed for 1 minute that he was in this to further enrich wealthy people like himself. He already was rich. The principles of Trump populism. Now let's get right down to it. Trumponomics revolves around a handful of core principles. First, always put America first. Reject globalism. This isn't to say that America will not continue to be the most generous and charitable nation in the world when it comes to rushing to the aid of a friend, but it does mean that we will put America's and Americans' interests above those of other nations. The left snubs its nose at this idea as outdated nationalism. Wrong. The entire basis of our nation is self-government and consent of the governed.